We are back on 40s and Free Agents, the podcast nobody asked for, with me and Daniel Jeremiah, aka Move the Sticks, where we build up to the draft in free agency in the offseason, but we're sprinkling some shows throughout the course of the season because the fans demand it, DJ, and we can look back a little bit on that rookie draft class of 2025 and some of the free agent moves that have really shaped this season. Good to talk to you again.
Good to be with you, buddy. I missed that song, by the way. It's a shame to have that great of an intro song and not use it more often. But I'll tell you what, you look up and here we are doing the halfway point of the season episode, and Greg, you're gonna blink, and we're gonna be cranking out, a lot more 40s and free agents in the offseason.
Yes, the plan, once we get to the new year, we are going weekly, and we got a lot of new information this week. Of course, we had our trade deadline episodes over on NFL Daily and Reaction on Move the Stick. So we're going to focus on what we do here during the season, which is look back a little bit on how this draft class is looking, and we'll do it position by position. I'll throw in some of the free agency moves that have really changed teams. And why don't you get us going? We might as well start at quarterback, unless you want to start elsewhere.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to hit a couple guys on these positions here. So I want to just, with the quarterbacks, let's start with Cam Ward, because I just saw him last week live. I prepared for the game with the Chargers and the Tennessee Titans, so studied him and then seen him live and in person. And I would just say, anybody that's panicked or freaking out, he's going to be fine. You can pull out. My test with a lot of these rookies is, can you pull out the 5 to 10 plays a game that get you excited, and those flashes of hope that he provides, and he has done that. Now, the arm strength's plenty good enough. He can move around. He's not going to move around to run. He's going to move around to throw. Everything I get from the folks there is that the wiring's great. He's working hard, doing all the stuff you need to do. There's some mechanical stuff to fix. They're not good up front. I like the fact that they're, getting the younger guys in play. Chimere DK has really turned into a good player. We'll see what Io Manor can develop into with more opportunities. They need to get the tight end the ball more. Helm, who's been a really good rookie for him. But with Cam, when I talk about the mechanical things, when he's on time and throws it, fine. When he's on the move, off platform, change arm angles, fine. Those are two great areas. When he moves and resets, his accuracy is bad. Like, he has really struggled from that standpoint.
Interesting.
So to me, it's just getting him a little more comfortable in that environment where moving, being able to, it's like the ability to speed up, urgency, speed up, get away, but then you've got to slow back down to get into your legs and deliver the ball accurately. He's not doing that, and that's why you're seeing some of these misfires, which I think is entirely coachable.
Yeah, I've been watching them every week, and it's such a weird situation because I think there's a lot to like about that rookie draft class, but you also have the feeling, like we've had with Trevor Lawrence and Caleb Williams last year, of these quarterbacks that are kind of wasting a year. I know it's helpful to be in the NFL and get these reps, but his ultimate coach is not there right now. So that's frustrating. But look, it's not easy to find 3 pass catchers in the middle rounds. I think they did it. Yeah. Gunnar Helm, Io Manor's out there blocking like a tight end. Everyone wants a wide receiver like that.
Yeah, no, and we get to those other positions, but and even talking to some folks with the organization, like they know they need to get the tight end of the ball more. He had one ball last week against Chargers, made an unbelievable catch. They got to figure out a way to get him more involved. He's going to end up being a real value pick for him. And DK leading the league in all-purpose yards. He's been awesome. So good find there. Jackson Dart will be the other one that I'll hit. Obviously, they feel great inside the organization. They've got their guy. They've got absolutely nothing, with Scattaboo goes out, unfortunately. Neighbors is gone. I mean, it's just not a lot for him to work with there. And yet he still finds a way to make plays and brings the energy and enthusiasm and excitement there. He's advanced further than I thought he would be at this point in time. I loved the upside with Jackson Dart. I thought he would require some more patience, but to be as competitive as he's been with what he has, and their offensive line has been better, but that's all you can hope for when you take a quarterback in the first round, no matter where it is you're hoping after a year there's a calm and an ease of like, we're out of that market. And I think they clearly know that they're out of that market. And I'll pose this question to you, Greg, getting it back to you is, and I loathe redrafts. I think it's lazy. It's kind of a dumb thing. But I would say I made this statement, and I'll see if you are on board with it. In everything we know now, go back, draft it over again. I said at worst, Cleveland would take him at 2. At worst. They would not do that trade. They would not trade out of 2. They would have stuck and picked. If not, and I'm saying that's the worst. If not, he would have been Tennessee's pick at 1. I'm saying that Jackson Dart would have been the first or second pick based off what we've seen right now. Tell me I'm wrong.
I can't, because I like Abdul Carter. I'm still holding on to my Travis Hunter stock. I'm going to buy it up from people who are doubting, but I can't go against you. I would still have Ward personally over Dart, but he has been Dart that is way better, way faster than I expected. And he's made that team better as a rookie quarterback. That is not easy to do. So I think you're right. That's a good way to think about it. I had not. So thinking back to like decisions in the offseason like that you might change around. Would Sam Darnold and his agent have asked for more money than $100 million over 3 years? So we're going to do some of the free agency moves here. And I kind of wanted almost to focus on the contract of it all, because we know how well Sam Darnold's taken. I've never taken a bigger L in my entire life as an analyst than seeing him play better this year and seeing him obviously upgrade that team compared to where Geno Smith was. And I think he was the better system fit, which I should have given them credit for. But man, he's only making 31 a year over the next 2 years. He might be going back to the table in a year or so, but man, they have to feel great because he's a legit MVP candidate.
Yeah, no, he's been awesome. It's been fun to watch. I was looking at their tape from this last week, and there was a moment in that game where they end up emptying out the formation. So they go empty, and you see him go 1 to 2 to 3. And it is so fast they did in that Washington game. And I wrote it down, and I'm like, I know, people will say that's too rich, but I'm watching. I'm like, that was a Joe Burrow look to it. There was the speed of which he's seeing things, but the calm and poise and the ball placement was pristine. Like that's what like he's got to flush that one play. He still has one play a game he'd like to have back, but I mean, it was a perfect first half in last week's game. And let me give you my other exercise that I did here, because I want to get your thoughts on it. I did this on, I think I did this on Move the Sticks the other day, but just to get your thoughts on it. If you look at Sam and the group that they have around him, I know we're focusing on the free agents and the draft picks here, but if you look at Sam with this Seattle team, and I took their top 7 to 9 players, which is Sam, JSN, Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy. You could put Cross, Eamon Warry, Witherspoon, Zabel, Abe Lucas. You could put Ernest Jones in there. That's like the top 10-ish guys. And then you look at the team that won the Super Bowl last year with Saquon, Lane Johnson, Carter, Quinyon Mitchell, Zach Bond, A.J. Brown, Hurts, Devontae Smith, Mailata. Like it's a fair fight. Now you could say it leans Philly, but like when people ask, could Sam Darnold lead the Seahawks to a Super Bowl? And you look at the top part of their roster, it's not that far off the team that just won it, man.
No, I've been saying, I don't know if they're the Super Bowl favorites, but I think they're the team that's played the best football so far, even before last week. So that Eagles team was so talented. I'm still giving the edge to the Eagles, but is that a Super Bowl?
Once you get beyond, but that's the strength is that they had eight defensive linemen they could roll all the way through there.
Yep. And I think, look, they only got more talented this week with Rashid Shaheed, who I think is a great fit for Sam Darnold. So that's interesting. The other quick, quarterback things. It is interesting. It's supposed to be so hard to get quarterbacks in the offseason, but they got Daniel Jones in Indianapolis for $14 million, and I'm sure they're going to sign him long term. And I think Pittsburgh is glad. They didn't get Stafford or Darnold, but I think they're happy with how the Rodgers move ended up. And both those teams got bargained for what they're getting. So apparently you can get quarterbacks in the offseason sometimes.
No doubt. Where do you want to go next? What position?
I'll just run through the running backs quickly, which is, to me, it's just interesting. You can still get the guys at the bottom of the barrel that are going to come in and be a bell cow for you and be effective. Rico Dowdle and Javonte Williams are making combined $5.75 million. They're about the same, right around $3 million each. And they'll both be free agents again, and they'll get a little more this offseason. But that's just awesome for those two guys and those two teams. And it does show, you can get good bargains, I think, with that second contract for running backs that haven't been used too much.
Yeah, and I would say in the draft, it's always been the case. You can find them kind of up and down throughout the draft. We've seen RJ Harvey who popped. We've had these guys who've kind of had their week or two where they've really popped. Scadaboo was doing great until he was lost for the year, which was unfortunate. Genty's in a tough spot there. At least he's got a running mate now with Bowers back healthy, so he's got a chance without everything having to go all through him. He's been solid. I was asked the question of if you could take one running back from this class for the future, so what you've seen thus far and then could carry him into the future. I actually, and I always preface it, and I want to make sure I'm honest and transparent. I do the Charger games, and I know he's missed time, but I would take Omarion Hampton over any running back in this draft when he's been out there and healthy, and considering who is not in front of him blocking, size, speed, the ability to catch the ball, versatility. Now, unfortunately, he's missing a huge chunk of the season with this injury, but he would be the one that I would take out of all these running backs.
I hate to agree with you, but I would. And I thought Genty looked better coming off the bye week. I don't know if it was how they used him or just getting a little bit of a break. He had some juice.
Yeah, he's got to be a good player. They actually have another somebody actually they have to look at and worry about on the other side of the ball, which is nice. It's a nice help to have that.
4 tutties for Geno. He's back. Maybe not, but yeah, I agree with you. Hampton is the complete package. What do you think at wide receiver?
Yeah, wide receivers, Ibuka's, he's been the story. He's been the class of the group. Teteroa McMillan's been solid. This team, and to no fault of his own, but they've realized that their path and their formula to win football games is not through the air. It's running the ball with an offensive line that's equipped to run it with backs. That they have Rico Dowdle being at the top of that list. They're just more equipped to play that style of football. So you're going to see that impact his numbers. But he's clearly their number one guy and been solid. I mentioned Shamir DK a little bit earlier. I wanted to give him some love. When I was in there at training camp, there was excitement about the young receivers with him and Io Manor. And, as a kick returner, he's been awesome. I just saw him take a punt, back for a touchdown last week against the Chargers, leading the league in all-purpose yards. But he's more than that. And a lot of times you've seen receivers young in their career, impactful guys in this role, and you've seen them grow and evolve into more. I think you're going to see that with him. I'm excited about him.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what they were doing giving those snaps to your buddy Tyler Lockett early in the season. The rookies were playing too well, and they had to get Pete Carroll's buddy back to Vegas. I did want to follow up on the T-Mac point.
Yeah,
you had, and by the way, you had Hampton very high, before the draft too. So I think that's been borne out. I think he's even better than solid. And I know the numbers aren't crazy, but just eye test, he reminds me a little bit of Drake London, where maybe the numbers aren't going to be crazy, but he's a one. They found it. Like I think he's awesome. I'm convinced he is going to be like a top 15 type of receiver in the league. Like he's really good as a rookie. It's just the situation, maybe keeping his numbers down.
Let me, I'm pulling it up because I wanted to see my report on him as you mentioned that. Here we go. The end of it. Okay. McMillan this is the first line. McMillan is a tall, rangy receiver with a Drake London-like skill set. And the last thing I said, overall, I thought London played with a little more urgency as a prospect, but McMillan has the potential to provide a similar impact at the next level. So there you go.
And I can't pretend I'm breaking down the all 22 of every single one of his snaps, but he has played aggressive. He is out there fighting for balls, not a lot of like perfect location passes, and he looks pretty awesome to me. So I think they're happy. I think about the wide receivers in terms of free agency, and it's a trend of all the rest of these positions. There's a lot more misses than hits, and Devontae Adams is what the Rams wanted him to be, of course, but I think about Josh Palmer, like those mid-tier wide receivers, it doesn't often work out. Christian Kirk for the Texans. And I do think about how the Patriots might have dodged one, and this is just injury related, but Chris Godwin coming off a really serious injury at his age, they wanted to give him a lot of money. The reports from our guys, Ian Rappaport, were that he passed down more money from the Patriots to return to Tampa. So they end up, in the end, quote unquote, settling for Stephon Diggs, who's been a really nice fit for them at a little lower price and has been healthy, got back from his injury. So that ended up working out well for them. I think that'd be a different Patriots team right now if they did not have Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, sometimes it's the guys you don't get, right? That end up being the good moves, and they've gotten younger there. And again, I know we're not going to sit here and talk about your Patriots the whole time, but like said it at the time that was my favorite draft. And you look at the young core that they've got assembled. It's going to be fun, man. You're kind of set up for a decade of fun with the Patriots.
Unfortunately, who's the only rookie on the team that I still believe in, but isn't really contributing.
Henderson hasn't got cranked up yet.
No, that wasn't even the guy I was mentioning because he looked great last week. Was my favorite guy in the draft, Kyle Williams. There's too many good guys ahead of him. Kayshon Boutte, you can't get him off the field.
That's right. I mean, there's only one Kayshon Boutte in this league. Can we do my favorite position in this entire draft right now?
Please.
Tight ends. Tyler Warren has been an elite player. He's already, kind of playing like a top 5 player at his position in the league. He's done it the whole year. It's run after catch. It's the physicality. It's the instincts. All that stuff's been excellent. So start there. But then I'm telling you, who's nipping at his heels is Aronde Gadsden, seeing him every week with the Chargers. Woo! And he's on a heater. He's on about a 4-week heater, and I don't think it's going to slow down. And I don't know if it's the 86 that he's wearing, but I'm like, this gives me like prime Zach Ertz vibes of someone who's just got the trust of his quarterback. And it's hard to describe, but he presents such a good target where he gets in and out of breaks. He presents himself well. It makes it very inviting for throws, and he catches everything. He can catch it. Nice catch radius over his head, back if it's behind him. He's been excellent. So that's the role I could see him kind of playing. And I wouldn't be surprised, as great as Warren is, if we looked up in 3 to 5 years, because he's getting a chance to play with Justin Herbert, that you're going to see, statistically, he could be at or eclipse where Tyler Warren is. So that's my fun one there. You sound like you want to jump in here, Greg.
No, that's awesome and outrageous. It just shows how crazy draft value can affect things, because there was that 1 week after his first big game that he's on every single fantasy football waiver wire. I remember talking about it with my kids and seeing other people. And a lot of people were like, I don't know. That's probably a fluke. Meanwhile, if he had gotten drafted where Colston Loveland got drafted, everyone I think would be talking about him as a legit Rookie of the Year candidate. And it's a good offensive Rookie of the Year class. There's a lot of fun options, including the guys we've talked about, like Dart. But Gadsden's got a chance. I mean, that's crazy to get an undrafted guy that could be. He was undrafted, right?
No, he's like 5th round.
Yeah, okay, my bad. My bad. Right as I'm studying that's insane. There's not much to talk about on the tight end position in terms of free agency. Evan Ingram got in there, and
I bought that. Okay, I told you that before, because I got sold a bill of goods on that one. Didn't help.
You know what? He's
team.
He's like a lot of Broncos receivers. There's 1 or 2 plays every week where he's wide open and they just miss hitting him for like a long touchdown last week. And so I'm not giving up on him. He's been close, but man, that's exciting that the Chargers got that.
By the way, Colston Loveland coming off his big game. So hopefully he's coming on. Harold Fannon's been good for Cleveland. I mentioned Helm needs to get the ball more in Tennessee. It's shaping up to be an excellent tight end class. That's why I think it's, as I mentioned, it's my favorite of all these groups. I think there's a really good group of guys there.
There's a really good group of free agent tight ends that we'll hit on next year. But as we wrap up the offense, who stands out to you in terms of the offensive line picks so far? Yeah,
I'm just going to hit Zabel. I mean, the 2 tackles have had their moments and played well. Will Campbell's, like you run into Myles Garrett, it is what it is. Membu's been solid. Those guys have been solid. Simmons hasn't been out there, unfortunately, for the Chiefs. Played well when he was out there, but haven't got to see more of him. But Gray Zabel, to me, has been a real difference maker as an interior offensive lineman on that Seattle team. We were just talking about it a little bit earlier. He's been awesome.
This is the position more than any other where, man, you need to be able to draft and develop them. Because when I'm looking for the list of the best offensive linemen that changed teams, like last offseason, it's a pretty short list. Like Jalen Moore got paid a lot from the Chiefs. I think he's been okay. He's supported the idea that they needed that insurance when Josh Simmons left, and they haven't fallen apart. But the guys who got big money, like Dan Moore from the Titans, I don't think the Vikings are really loving the experience they've gotten out of Will Fries and Ryan Kelly. Kelly's been hurt, but that was part of the risk when you sign him. It's just not a lot of quality guys that change teams. And you look at the signings that have already happened this season that are kind of under the radar, like guys like Colton McKivitz and Luke Gedeke. They have already been re-signed. So you're just not going to find solid to good offensive linemen in free agency. Why don't we take a little bit of break, unless you got something to say about offensive linemen?
No, I'm tapped out there.
Okay, let's take a quick break and we'll talk about defense after this.
All right, everybody. We're back here, 40s and free agents, with my guy, Greg. Greg didn't know this was coming, but I wanted to bring this back. We had a Super Bowl draft before we get to the defense. We'll get to the defensive players. Just wait. But we had a Super Bowl draft. We went teams. Like, you pick teams. We went through every team in the AFC, every team in the NFC. And I thought this would be a good time to revisit. We're at the halfway mark, Greg. You want to see where we landed with that draft and tell me where you feel great and where you don't feel great?
Well, I know that you're sneak attacking me here. And the only way you would possibly do that is if your draft looks better than mine. This would not be a segment. This would not be a segment if my draft was good.
Well, I'll leave that to the viewers to see, or the listeners to see what they say there. Let's start with the AFC. Let's go back through that draft. Okay. You went Ravens first overall pick. Yep. How you feeling there?
Okay. Jay? I'm not great, but we're not out of it yet. I still think they could win that division, and the playoffs are what matters. But not great.
I went Bills with my first pick. Feel fine there.
Okay.
You went Chiefs with the next pick.
Feel great. That would be my number one overall pick, I think, right now. Okay, even though they're 5-4, I think I would take them. Yeah.
Okay. I went with the Chargers. Obviously, the injuries of the two tackles not helping, but they're a playoff team. You went with Texans with your fifth pick. How are you feeling about that one?
That's a cross off.
Well, I'm gonna be able to come right back with you because I went with the Cincinnati Bengals with my pick. Don't love that at all. Here's a great back and forth here. You went with the Steelers at 7. Right? They're in. Feel good.
I'll take it. Good value pick.
Good value. Yeah. I got the Denver Broncos at 8. That's a fantastic value.
Better value.
And
both of those teams could have home games in the playoffs.
How about you come back with the Patriots at 9?
Okay, I thought I was gonna get taken to the woodshed here. No. Let's go.
No. I went
all the more reason.
I went Jacksonville at 10. Don't love that. And now we get to the ugly part.
I mean, that's good. That's good for a 10 pick. They're in the playoffs if it ended today.
You go Miami at 11. No bueno. I go Raiders at 12. No bueno. You go New York Jets at 13. Gross. But here we are with the 14th pick in the draft. I got the Indianapolis Colts. Home to Sauce Gardner and a newly revamped defense to accompany the league's best offense. And without question, the best value pick of this draft. You go Titans at 15. I go Browns at 16. But that's the AFC. So you feel good about the fact you've got KC that like legitimately you think could win it. Like you still feel like Baltimore, if they could get in, they could go on a run, they could win it.
Sure. And the Patriots are a good dark horse. I do regret a lot about our Colts predictions. At least I'm talking on our show, NFL Daily, because there was more there to see. If we had just seen the vision, they're actually kind of a win now team with a bunch of good players, continuity in their prime. That was a good value pick by you.
All right. So let's get to the NFC. I go Eagles at 1. Feel fantastic about that. You go Detroit at 2.
I'm fine with that. I know it's been a little rocky, but the defense is better than I thought. I'm fine with that.
I go Rams at 3. Love that one.
That's pretty good.
But you came back with Tampa at 4. I think we're doing pretty good here. I think those first 4 picks are all legitimate Super Bowl contenders. I came back with Green Bay at 5. A little bit of a up and down roller coaster here. Minnesota at 6. I don't think you're feeling great about that, are you?
I don't feel good about that. And this I remember now was made before the Micah Parsons trade, by the way, that you got Green Bay. Those top 5 teams, they could all make the Super Bowl. The NFC is so good.
So then I go, last year in the NFC Championship game, I thought I was getting a good value with the Commanders at 7. That they're a sell team right now, not a buy team. So no there. You go Niners at 8, good value. But not
solid. But I was hoping you would say Seahawks.
Not as good as mine because I went Seahawks at 9. That's the value pick of this whole thing. You go Cowboys 10. Then we get to I go Cardinals 11. You go Falcons 12. Then I got Bears at 13. Feels like they could be a playoff team. You go Giants at 14. Nothing. I got the Carolina Panthers at 15. And
are we going to brag about that? You think they're going to the Super Bowl? These picks at the end don't matter.
15? I got the Colts.
You took the Commanders 7th. You're going to be happy. You're going to be.
No, it's about the collection. I just need one of them to get it done here. I feel like the teams that I have, I'll give you the teams that I have that I feel like could win it right now in the NFC. I think the Eagles could win it, the Super Bowl. I think the Rams could win the Super Bowl. I think the Packers could win a Super Bowl. And I think the Seahawks could win a Super Bowl. So I've got 4 legit teams I think can win a Super Bowl. I think for you, the Lions could win a Super Bowl. The Bucks could win a Super Bowl. I don't know. Do you think the Niners? Right. I don't think the Niners can win it. That's 4-2.
You won the NFC draft.
Yeah.
What do you want?
AFC was pretty fair. But it's good. It's a good half point. Just remember what the expectations were and to see where we are. Not just talking about the individual players, but actually from a team standpoint. All right, you want to do your defense? Go ahead. Do your defense.
Okay. Why don't we start with the linebackers? Why not? Because I was thinking about this watching. I'll combine a couple. I know we're talking one position here, but the Dre Greenlaw Hufanga combination, and Hufanga's practically playing linebacker some of the times. But seeing Greenlaw on the field last week, now that he's past the injury, past the suspension, I was like, oh, this has really got to work, because he was an impact player in that game, and Hufanga has been really good for them. And man, it is a tough position to find value in free agency. A lot of other contracts don't look amazing. Jamie and Sherwood, for instance, going back to the Jets. But now that we're half season in, and I know they didn't have Greenlaw for a while, I feel like that move is going to help them out a lot.
Yeah, I like that one. Defensively, overall defensive players, Schlesinger at the linebacker position is, to me, is like the great value pick of, he's been outstanding on the defensive side of the ball. That's kind of like my positive one. On the disappointing side, I'll be honest with you, Abdul Carter, I thought would be a little more impactful.
Wow.
I just thought he'd be a little bit more impactful. Not that he's been bad. I almost wonder, I was thinking, I can't mention names because as we're recording this, we haven't finished the trade deadline. So I don't want to say like they should have done this or done that. Maybe they have by the time you're listening to this or watching this. But I thought he was going to be, borderline elite, and that hasn't necessarily been the case.
He has a very similar statistical profile, but more pressures to Ezeraku of the Cowboys, who's been coming on late, which is a whole lot of pressure and not a lot of QB hits or sacks. So I feel like the people around the Giants aren't too down on him. That is the position.
He's been good. It just hasn't been one of those deals where you pop on the tape and you're like every week, like, holy crap, what was that?
Well, it's not a good defensive rookie of the year crop in general.
Schlesinger's been as good as anybody.
He would have been my pick, and I know he just got hurt, but he'll be back. So he would have been my pick. I saw him live. I saw him really change the Vikings season when he absolutely cracked Carson Wentz in the open field and unfortunately injured him. And then Wentz just played through it for another 3 weeks. Like the other guys that could win Rookie of the Year, I don't know. Jacob Parrish.
He's been
maybe
good.
Eamon Worry eventually,
yeah.
if he keeps picking it up. The edge position is where you found value in free agency. So think of guys changing games. Like Josh Sweat has been everything that they would have wanted in Arizona. So is Calais Campbell, by the way. Always sign Calais Campbell. That's what I
By the way,
said on the show.
In terms of rookies, Walter Nolan would have played the whole season like he got to play in his very first game. He might be in this discussion.
If you remember, that was my guy back in the draft process. I thought like anyone that has 20 plays as good as his 20 best plays, I will buy into. And he looked good on Monday night. Joey Bosa, he stayed healthy. They haven't overworked him.
You better find some wood real quick.
Coming off his best game, but he's had a couple really good games, and I really like that they, despite not being deep there, haven't done the thing where they've just played him 50 snaps one week. It's always like 25 to 30, and they're getting really good production out of him. It kind of reminds me of DeMarcus Lawrence too. Guys on these 1-year deals that are playing really well. That is one position I do think you can find guys if you look over the last few years, especially those 1-year deal guys can be pretty good values.
Yeah, I'll knock on wood for you. I would love for Bosa to stay healthy. I would love for him to enter into the playoffs healthy, and I think this Bills team in some ways is kind of pacing themselves for the postseason. Josh hasn't been quite as aggressive as a runner, just kind of when he needs to. And I preserving guys like Bosa to get to the post. I mean, this is a regular season. They've mastered that, man. They've got to be humming when they get to the postseason. And I think that's reflected in how they've used Bosa.
Yeah, your buddy Bucky Brooks. I was checking out his power rankings the other day. He had like the Patriots number 2 overall, and like the Bills are bare. It's like I'm a Patriots fan, and in no world do I think they are going to win that rematch or even win that division.
First game, they won the first game on the road, but I'm on your team on that one.
Speaking of which, it's really hard to find cornerbacks in free agency. Like Carlton Davis is actually the cornerback that's been picked on the most out of the Patriots. He hasn't been terrible, but he's not as good as Gonzalez or Marcus Jones, certainly. Paulson Adebo has been a little shaky for the Giants. And some injuries, just DJ Reed, Charvarius Ward at the position. It is tough to get better at cornerback. That's one of those positions that it's just tough to find value.
Jacob Parrish has been awesome. Will Johnson has got his hands on a lot of footballs. The instincts were the thing for him coming out, so that's held up. So, but again, I got to see. That's going to be one of those projects for me once we get to the end of the year to really dig in and see who played the best of that group. Your
guy, I believe, at parts of the process was Trey Amos. And I did kind of watch the Commanders defense a couple games, see what was going on wrong. And I thought he's been their best player maybe in the secondary. Yeah, he's been pretty good for them. He's been pretty good for them.
I can tell you because I just watched it and I want to double check to make sure that I get the number right because, it was Sainer still not playing as well.
Okay.
Young corner out of Michigan, year 2, right? Mikey Sanders still. Sorry, Drew. Drew, the producer, didn't want to hear that. The Michigan guy, but he's not.
I thought you were going to come over the top and, actually, I'm the one with the real, all 22 eyes, and your Trey Amos hasn't been playing that well. But I can see things. In fact, I know the exact play you were talking about when Darnold went through his 3 reads. Yeah. We were watching it all together in the theater, and your buddy MJD was there, and I'm like, man, this
does MJD give Darnold any credit, or does he hold on to the UCLA USC thing still?
He should be giving him credit. Any of us that were pointing how bad Sam Darnold was early in his career, he's a different player now. We're different people than we were.
You realize there's 2 types of people, right? There's the people that have to go on social media and scream from the mountaintops that I like Sam Darnold back in the day. Then there's the real ones who know we've been so identified and connected over the years that we don't have to say anything. We don't. We've been on board. We never jumped off the train. Well, I guess what I'm doing right now kind of conflicts with what I'm saying. But
no, this is your podcast. Yeah. It's our podcast. But I do want everyone listening to just think about who he's subtly taking shots at.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people.
I know a few. All right, we will get back together and talk a little more rookies, talk a little bit more free agency. Maybe we'll start to just peek ahead next time around, but we'll really start getting into the 2026 draft and free agency. Yes.
Before we go, I need to take this second here as we're finishing up to congratulate Greg because the baseball team he's been a fan of for about 45 minutes just won another World Series.
Let's go.
So congratulations, buddy. I know it's been such a long haul for you over the last 18 months since you began following the team, but I'm really happy for you.
Yeah, it really more like 15 months. It was kind of halfway through last season that because my wife and son were just such big fans. But we've gone through some hardships. They had to really work for it. And you were one of the first people.
You really appreciate it when you've been through the lows that you've been through in that fandom.
After I hugged my wife and my son, after Miguel Rojas hit that home run, you were one of the next people I thought of, just DJ stewing somewhere down in San Diego.
Just brutal. Anyway, maybe next year. That's a beautiful thing about sports is always next year.
Yeah, I saw, more World Series rings now for Michael Conforto than Manny Machado. We will be back in about a month to talk a little more free agency.
Manny played as many innings in that World Series as he did.
That's fair, but he's getting that ring. I saw him drinking on the plane. We'll be back with 40s and free agents in about a month. Can't wait for draft and free agency season just around the corner. We'll see you then.